Namaskar. Welcome to another episode of Gandhian Voice. The Modi government and the petroleum prices. The past failures of Congress leadership and their coalition governments was a boon to BJP and the Modi government to get a second time in India. All said and done, Mr. Modi is free and fair person. Personally, he is also free from corruption and working hard to make a stronger India. His motto, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, many Indians took to their heart. However, some of his decisions are counterproductive and anti-development. This is very true in the pricing of petroleum products in India. The prices of petroleum products are a scorching issue for all Indians as it is shooting up every day as if there is no one to control it. Probably ever since Modi took over as Prime Minister of India, the price of petroleum products are shooting up beyond any reason. It seems like the Modi government and some state governments, including the Kerala government and their decision makers, are eagerly waiting for hike in international crude oil prices so that they can get free tax revenue. It is interesting to see that there are some guiding principles for pricing petroleum products in India. One of them says the price of petroleum products should, as far as possible, be aligned with the international crude oil prices. True, retail price of petroleum and diesel in India shall be linked to the global crude oil prices so as to sustain the refineries in India. The fifth principle also says excise tariffs shall be restructured to protect the consumers from excessive volatility in petrol and diesel prices. By this, what is implied is when crude oil prices goes up, the excise duty can be brought down suitably without affecting the tax revenue of the governments. As a corollary, when crude oil prices go down, the excise duty can be increased sufficiently so as to keep a steady revenue for the governments. Thus, by a judicious operation of the pricing principles, there can be complete control of consumer price of the petroleum products so that the rise and fall of crude oil prices will not significantly affect the consumer price of petroleum products in India. These principles are only on paper, as the Modi government never cared for their implementation. This is true even for the Pinarayi government in Kerala, as they are also not prepared to forego the excess tax revenue they get. It is unfortunate that the central and state governments in India consider any rise in crude oil price as a windfall opportunity to make extra revenue. Both central and state governments consider such additional revenue essential for freebies and creation of non-performing assets like the Statue of Unity, the new Parliament House called Central Vista Project, the VVIP aircrafts, etc. This policy of Modi government enables the center and the state governments to get almost 55% of the price the public pay for diesel and petrol. Yet another glaring discrimination is that the common man's fuel, petrol and diesel, are priced above rupees 100. In some states it is 105, in some other states it is something like 115 rupees per liter, while the aviation petrol is priced only for rupees 72 a liter. In simple terms, the governments are not prepared to maintain a stable price for petroleum products in India, while many foreign countries Particularly, the developed countries use this technique to cushion the variations in crude oil prices. The fuel price situation in India is such that the Indians, on an average, spend around 20% of their per capita income on fuel, whereas in more than 57 countries in the corresponding for more than 57 countries, the corresponding expenditure is steady and it is below 10% of their per capita income. A steady low level of per capita expenditure on fuel has a big role to play in stabilizing the general consumer price index, the living costs, and strengthening the national economy. The fun is that even the burden of the losses due to COVID lockdown and poor sales is thrust upon the common man, so that the petroleum companies remain what is called Maharatna Company. What is a Maharatna Company? Any public sector company which makes a net profit above rupees 5,000 crores per year for the last 3 consecutive years is named as Maharatna Company. And all the 3 public sector companies in oil sector, after giving rich salaries and perks to their staff, remain Maharatna Company, because even in these pandemic days they have made profit more than rupees 5,000 crores per year, so as to retain the status of Maharatna Company. The Reliance Petroleum and other private sector oil companies must be making still higher profits. This daylight looting by the oil companies get silent support from central government, as these companies directly financed major portion of the rupees 3,000 crore non-performing asset, the Statue of Unity in Gujarat, and several other projects. Shri Modi is not corrupt, but his petroleum policy is anti-development and anti-national. In the name of freebies, the cost of fuel is going up almost every day, as it happens now. This will lead to a vicious circle of spiraling prices. For all commodities and all services, the poor and the average people in India will find it very difficult to live. I am sure we have even surpassed the arch enemy Pakistan in selling fuel in India at the highest price in the world in comparison with our per capita income. There are several options to control the price of petroleum products, like economy in oil company operations, reduction of profit, reduction of duties by state and central governments, etc. If the petroleum prices are not curtailed, the Indian economy will collapse. The net result will be inflation and devaluation of Indian rupee. Already in the last 6 months, the value of Indian rupee has gone down by 3.1 rupees against one single dollar. There are only a handful of oil companies in India, all of which operate in the most luxurious way compared to any other manufacturing and marketing companies in India. The conditions of operating these companies are such that whatever expenses they incur, whether it is taxes, the ups and downs in sales as in the pandemic days, the heavy perks to the employees, mismanagement, etc., they have the easy option to pass on all such losses to the consumers to keep their operations always on profit and to remain a Maharatna company. None of the oil companies are prepared to reduce their overheads as was done by many private companies in the pandemic days. The governments are also not ready to roll down some of the taxes and the windfall taxes enjoyed by the states. This is a vicious circle. Even though such situation was set in motion by the UPA government, nobody will prevent the Modi government to set up a regulatory system to stabilize the price of petroleum products. Already there is a system, at least let them implement it. It will also contribute to stabilize the spiraling cost of living in India and the looming threat of devaluation of the Indian rupee. Under the present policy and at this rate, India can never be an economic power, and Sri Modi hoga sabka saath, lekin sabka vikas kabhi nahi hoga. Thank you.